Thanks. I'm also really excited to be here. Before I was in Congress, I was a real lawyer, and I did natural resources law. And the Chevron case is one of those cases that I had to read in a lot of my law school classes, and it's one that you refer to a lot when you're doing anything in natural resources. And I know a lot of you in this room that represent business interests understand that it impacts your lives and your livelihoods every day. I kind of feel bad that we call it Chevron deference because I think it makes everyone forget Chevron lost in that case. It was deference to the agency, not to the business, and that's why we're all here today, right? For 80 years, we've tried the New Deal approach of having experts in agencies make decisions for us with the assumption that experts would make better decisions than we would make because we don't know everything, we don't have the time to know everything. And 80 years in, I think we're seeing that it's just not working. And it's time to have the conversation that we're having right now. I'm really excited to be here for this. Now what we have is with agencies empowered by Congress, let's be honest about where the blame lies. These agencies have authority that's been delegated to the executive branch by the legislative branch, and we always had the authority to take it back. We haven't done it. And then when agencies make decisions we don't like, we blame them and fundraise off of it, which is also problematic. But the agencies are supposed to have deference in the absence of clarity from Congress. And the reason it's hard to fix is that, my colleagues up here can back me up on this. When you have a body of 435 people, it's easier to get agreement in concept than it is to get agreement to all the details. So there's a lot of incentive to write really vague bills and send them to an agency and say the secretary shall, and then wait for the agency to flesh that out and say what it means. And we're going to have to do a lot better job of our jobs if Chevron gets overturned. And people ask me all the time, is Congress ready for this? Is Congress ready to act if Chevron gets overturned? And I'm not exactly sure what most people think our action's going to be. We're gonna have to write better bills. And the answer is, we're gonna have to be ready. So one of the examples that I use all the time, because I've worked on this issue in several different capacities over the last several years, is the Northern Corridor in Washington County. It's a road. It's a road that's been part of the county plan for 30 years. And local transportation planners have been talking to federal agencies about this road for 30 years. In the early 2000s, the county and the cities and the environmental groups and the federal government, everybody came together to work out a lands bill in Washington County that was going to settle a lot of the issues, the wilderness issues, criticals of environmental concern. And one of the things they negotiated was this road. It goes through tortoise habitat, and the county agreed to creating a conservation area in the same area that they need the road, and in exchange, they agreed that the Secretary of Interior and the local governments would work together to find a route for the road. That bill was signed by President Obama in 2009. It's 2024, and I'm no longer a county attorney in Washington County. I'm a member of Congress that represents Washington County, and we're still having the same conversation about how the agencies need to do what it says in the bill and find a route for the Northern Corridor. That's a big problem for, as the governor talked about, our system of government. We're not supposed to have accountable people like us who have to go back and face the public, unable to act on behalf of our constituents because we've yielded too much of our power to unaccountable bureaucrats who are interpreting, enforcing, and writing their own rules. They're doing the job of all three branches of government, which undermines our system, and we have to step up and do a better job. We could have done it all along. We haven't done it. If Chevron gets overturned, it's going to force us to do it, and it's probably going to be really painful for a while. But for the legal nerds like me who also have become legislative nerds, it's going to be really exciting to see how all of our bureaucracy changes. Hopefully what it does is shrink bureaucracy and make government much smaller and much more accountable and responsive to people.